Type of accidents. He says he worked on 3, this one being the worst that he's seen yet. Joining us now by phone, Robert Halstead, a railroad accident reconstructionist. Good evening.
Good evening.
What are your thoughts, your first initial thoughts as you look at what you're seeing here on the screen?
Well, you know, it's a pretty chaotic situation. Anytime you have a large-scale mass casualty incident like this, especially when it occurs in the dark, I would anticipate that it's going to take the rest of the night to recover the remaining people that may have been in there, try and rescue them as best they can. I doubt that any forensic analysis of any kind is going to take place much before daylight today.
When that analysis does take place, what's that going to look like? What's the first thing that happens?
Well, you know, once you have daylight, you're able to assess the full array of damage. You can determine exactly how many cars you have on the ground. You get a better idea of what this train may have struck. You know, be it a bridge abutment, be it a retaining wall, or perhaps standing equipment of another train. I just don't know that at this point, but you can get a lot better picture of that once we have some daylight.
And what is it that you're looking for as you reconstruct this? We had someone on the phone just recently on the phone saying there is a handful of different things, if not more, that could have happened this from. He said one time he had a beaver. They were building a little bit of a so-called dam or maybe like a nest, and that caused one of the trains to derail. There could be a number of different things that could have happened here.
Well, you know, as an investigator, once you think you've seen it all, something else happens, but one of the first things they're going to look for is the black box, the event recorders. There'll be 2 on this train, 1 on each end. They're going to seek those out, and if they're still functional, they're going to attempt to download data from them.
What kind of data do they get from these black boxes?
They can get anywhere from 20 to 30 different parameters, including speed, distance traveled. There are 4 different braking systems on the train. It'll give you a second-by-second status of each of the 4. It'll give you a throttle setting, horn blows, whether the headlight was on, things like that.
I would imagine they're quite crucial in trying to figure out exactly what happened.
Yes, and also the signal system itself has event recorders. So, for instance, they should be able to go back and reconstruct the signal indication that was displayed for the crew immediately before the derailment, so they can determine whether or not the train complies with speed requirements.
Now, the video that we're looking at here, it's interesting because this looks like this is the first car because of the windshield. It looks like it's the front car, which has either been said to be the business car or the quiet car. Not really sure exactly which car that was, but that appears to be the front car. But the ones following, maybe 2 and 3, could be, once again, this is all preliminary, and we're just looking at what everyone at home is looking at as well, but it looks like those are the ones that are mangled. What do you think could cause, and how would that happen, that the first car pretty much looks untouched, unscathed, besides being off the track, but the other 2 just mangled?
Well, you know, I've seen mechanical faults of some type produce that. If you have, say, a broken wheel, broken axle, things of that nature. The couplers between the cars in a passenger train are what are called tight lock couplers. They're designed to, in most cases, remain engaged to keep the train in one piece insofar as possible. So, you know, a number of different failures that could potentially cause that.
How fast do these trains go? Do you have a sense of how fast this one could have been going? Or how fast they should be going?
I'm not actually familiar with the maximum authorized speed in that area, but the Northeast Corridor in general can host trains up to 125 miles per hour. And this being a regional train, I'm sure it was going significantly less than that, but I would say that probably, 60 to 80 miles per hour is probably the general area that this train may have been traveling.
Now, Robert, we only have about a minute till we need to go to commercial break, but can you tell us how long, after we get daylight here, maybe around 5 or 6 in the morning, and they start to maybe be able to reconstruct what happened here, how long does it take till we get some solid answers?
It's going to be at least one day. it's going to be worked on a 24-hour basis until the wreck is cleaned up. I'd say it's going to be at least 24 hours before we have a good, solid handle on what the causes may have been.
And in your years of working with train accidents, how does this one compare?
It certainly doesn't look too good from what I've seen on camera thus far. It'll be very interesting to see, what the casualty count may have been once we get daylight.
Definitely. Right now, we know that 5 people have been confirmed dead. Of course, we're keeping everyone, the victims and those who passed away and their families, in our thoughts and prayers right now. Robert Halstead, a railroad accident reconstructionist, we appreciate you being with us. We're going to take a